Hello everyone, this is Taylor with Roll Gorge Anglers in Canyon City, Colorado, the oldest fly shop and fly fishing guide service and only Orvis endorsed outfitter on the Arkansas River Basin. Thanks so much for viewing today. It is mid-April, folks, and that means we're right in the middle of spring prime time. A lot going on in south, central, and central Colorado on all of our watersheds. But really right now, our main focus is on the Arkansas Freestone and Arkansas Tailwater. And boy, have things been fun for the last month or so. We've had some great BWO activity, blue-winged olive, full life cycle activity for the last month or so on those cloudier days. Those are big hatch days. And we've had obviously a continuation of stonefly molt activity, active stoneflies crawling on the substrate. Also free swimming caddis larvae, cranefly larvae, and midges in the mix. And those will continue to be major players for us. But as we move into April and kind of beyond the tax day date, we start to see a huge ramp up in caddis activity on the Arkansas River, and that is a pretty, world-renowned time period on the Arkansas, a well-known hatch that is starting to build right now. It's been a little bit cooler in Colorado in general here for the first 2 to 3 weeks of April. And so now we're just now seeing air temperatures in Canyon City in the 70s, which really is required in order to get water temperatures in that 50 plus range, which is what we need for heavy caddis pupation, emergence, and hatch activity. We're now in that window, and for the last 4 to 5 days, we've seen some sporadic caddis activity in Canyon City and Lower Bighorn Sheep Canyon. So some small flurry hatches here and there. There are some egg layers on the water in the evenings and early mornings, but just sporadic. Now here this week, today being, the 17th, we're gonna start to see a huge ramp up in activity because our air temperatures are now steady in the 70s and overnight lows are much warmer. So we won't see as much of a temperature swing in the water column. We'll see a more consistent water temperature, and we'll see those temperatures in the 50 to perhaps 55 degree range moving forward. And so what we expect, because the river is very low right now and typically is low because of rainbow trout spawning and brown trout fry emergence. We're not releasing a whole lot of water from Lake Creek or Clear Creek reservoirs yet. Because the river is low in the 200 CFS to 300 CFS range at the Wellsville gauge, we probably will see more of a widespread hatch within the caddis activity once it really starts to ramp. And so what that means is we could see heavy hatch activity from, say, Canyon City through perhaps Cotopaxi here in the next 3 to 4 days, and then movement upstream from there as the water temperature raises to the appropriate level. Caddis cases. This is a cased caddis, the Brachycentrus occidentalis, our spring caddis. The cases have been closed for several days, and really up and down Bighorn Canyon we're seeing closed cases. So it's just a matter of time in seeing a really heavy hatch activity. The 3rd and 4th week of April should be great caddis life cycle weeks, and obviously the 1st week of May is typically always a prime week for that heavy caddis activity. Again, just a reminder though, that don't chase caddis. Really not an optimal thing to do. Find some good weather, get down here, be prepared for anything. Be prepared for caddis life cycle activity, be prepared for blue-winged olive life cycle activity. Stonefly nymphs have have your bases covered there. Crane fly larvae, free swimming caddis, midges, and they're even eating, worms and some different other sundry attractor nymphs out there on bright days. Also, with the ramping water temperature, we'll see a really great movement towards streamers. We'll see good activity in the streamer segment. And so if you like to come throw streamers on the Arkansas River, we're really going to see some productive days from here on through the springtime, on streamers. And I'm talking bigger streamers. I'm talking tandem, mini dungeons and gongas and things of that nature. And I'll show you a few of those here shortly. So really, a wide breadth of activity, in the aquatic invertebrate segment, and obviously the trout, respond to that dramatically. I mean, the fishing's been very, very solid for really a month and a half or even more, especially in the Canyon City and Bighorn section. But we're really now moving into that spring prime time where you've got, your caddis, your blue wings, and all of your other sundry bugs active, higher water temperature, and just in general, fish more active and on the feed throughout the day. So let's take a quick look at a few patterns that you might be successful with out there. Would like to show you just so you have a general idea. And all of these patterns that I'm going to show you are available both in the fly shop as well as on our web store. So if you see anything you like and want to order something, 1 or 2 day delivery from the fly shop to the Front Range, and otherwise, if you're preparing for your trip, want a few sample bugs to tie with, that's a great route to go. Or if you just want to swing by the fly shop on your way up the river, obviously we'll help you when you're in store. Let's take a peek. Let's take a peek at what our guides boxes might look like as we move through the last few weeks of April and into the month of May, moving through spring prime time here on the Arkansas River Freestone. Really pretty simple, but I've got a good variety of patterns here, and obviously hot patterns are changing day to day. So if you swing by the fly shop, we can show you exactly what's going on a daily basis. Those things will change, and we've got over 900 different fly patterns here in the fly shop. So, but this will give you a really solid idea of what to expect, maybe what to be prepared with. And again, all of these patterns are available on our website at royalgorgeanglers.com. And of course, we can help you with these if you stop by the fly shop. Let's start with kind of our nymphing setups over here, our rigging for nymphing, moving into emergers, then into dries, and then finally streamers. So if we're using a basic double nymph rig, triple nymph rig with an indicator, we want something nice, big, and heavy up top. If you're Euro nymphing, this would be your point fly, your bottom fly. But stonefly category, of course, key. This is Pennington's improved stone here. We've got the tease stone, Tim stone in a darker color. Those are two great rubber leg stones. Charlie Craven's 2-bit stone has been just a phenomenal pattern for us here through the spring, one of our core flies. Charlie Craven's Problem Child, just a great attractor nymph, kind of a guide's choice hare's ear look, 2 tungsten beads, great stonefly pattern. Crane fly larva, what we're looking at here is a Czech style, a Euro nymphing style fly, but great to use under an indicator as well. This is your darker olive pattern. This is a CZ crane, so a little bit different, still tied on a competition style hook, but your tan kind of color for that crane fly, which we do want both color options for those crane flies. So those would be lead flies in a double nymph rig. Also keep an annelid on you. This is a depth charge worm. This is my #1 worm pattern in our boxes right now, 2 tungsten beads tied on a jig. So really a great pattern day in and day out. as a lead fly in a nymph rig. Moving on to some trailer flies or tag flies. Of course, in the caddis life cycle, we've got a free-swimming caddis larva. This is the GTI caddis. We've got a brachycentrus caddis here. That's the roller caddis. We've got just a great attractor for a caddis larva, and that's the chartreuse copperjohn. Case caddis. We've been fishing a lot of these here lately. This is a Euro style fly, and this is called a crackback. It's got that chartreuse hit in the thorax, and it's kind of a dark brown color. BWO nymphs, Juan Slim Shady in purple, size 20-22, double tungsten, great fly. The shot glass, olive and purple, one of my favorites in size 18. This is going to be a flash perdigon, and this is kind of a darker colored flash perdigon, got that flash body, but that's going to be a great BWO attractor nymph. The panty dropper, Dwayne Redford's panty dropper Baetis, tied on a jig hook, that's a great blue-winged olive attractor nymph as well. Okay. Moving into emergers. So this is mid-water column up to the subsurface film typically, but you can also fish them deep. Obviously focusing on our caddis again. Gary LaFontaine's deep sparkle pupa, non-weighted in the chartreuse color. This is our deep sparkle pupa in an olive color with a bead head. We carry both colors and weights in multiple sizes there. The hot wire caddis, this is one of our favorites, kind of a breadwinner for us. Kryptonite caddis, except tied on a jig. This is a brand new kryptonite that we carry here. That's Juan Ramirez's pattern, and phenomenal. So swing by and grab a handful of those. Those will be great for you. In the BWO category, your smoke jumper Baetis here, your CDC loop wing. These are both kind of staple BWO emergers, and then Shea Gunkel's shot glass blue dun emerger. Then moving into adults, your dries, your hatch matchers, okay? Gonna be in the caddis and blue-winged olive category primarily. This is a brand new foam caddis called the High Rise. This is one that we have, really enjoyed fishing here the last few days, and kind of a newer pattern. So look for that in the bins when you swing by. The Mimic Sedge, that's going to be foam body and black with CDC, just super buggy. The standard Better Foam caddis from Larry Kingery, been around for a long time, one of our breadwinner caddis patterns. In an egg layer, this is called a Mother's Day caddis. It's got the little green hit in the butt. An attractor caddis, this is a black micro hippie stomper, just great. So if you're having trouble, seeing these on their own, this is a great fly to run as a lead fly, and then run a caddis dry or a caddis pupa underneath it, or even a BWO dry beneath it. Going to be a good, attractor fly for you. That's, again, the black micro hippie stomper. That's a brand new fly as well. Comparadun. Comparadun's going to be a great BWO adult for us, a very classic pattern, fishes very well. The Iguanodon, that's a Phil Ioanni's extended body blue-winged olive, size 18-20 is what we look at for those. And then a brand new pattern called the 401K Baetis. This has been phenomenal pattern for us through the spring and early spring season here on the Arkansas. Then let's take a peek at some streamers. We're really, going to start to see streamer activity ramp up with warmer water temps. Again, go pretty big. We're talking, these are 2 to 3 inch flies. Your swim coach, olive and purple, that's Charlie Craven's pattern. It's got a cone tied in under the head, nice and heavy, just fishes exceptionally well. I love these colors. The mini sex dungeon, Kelly Gallup's pattern, white and black. Those are all going to be lead flies. If you'd like to fish those on their own, you can, or you could throw a trailer. And remember that brown trout fry are emerging right now, so there's a lot of small trout fry in the river. This is Takahashi's mini minnow, and then a gummy minnow here, which can be just a phenomenal pattern to fish as a dropper or on its own as well. So that'll be a general look at a bunch of great patterns, again, available in the fly shop here or on our website. And of course, swing by the fly shop and we can get you tuned in day to day, but this will give you a good idea of what to expect. Okay, so hopefully taking a look at those patterns will give you a good general idea of what to expect, what to be prepared with when you're heading to the Arkansas River here over the course of the next month or so. It's still pretty simple, not as complicated as what we see in the summer months when we've got a lot of different bugs hatching, a lot of different things going on. Really, our staples will continue to be caddis, blue-winged olive, stoneflies, cranefly larvae, and then adding some streamers and other sundry attractor nymphs in the mix. One of the things I will tell you, in order to be successful in the spring, just make sure you're getting a great drift, getting the best drift possible, fishing a little bit lighter tippet, especially with the lower flows that we've got currently in the 200 to 300 CFS range, gin clear. Be sure that you are taking advantage of lighter tippet diameters, 5X and 6X. Fluorocarbon is very helpful. Don't have to run a full fluorocarbon leader if you don't want to, but fluorocarbon at your fly connections is a must right now when we're nymph fishing. And then, just covering water. At 200 CFS, fish are very spread out. They're in a lot of different water, so be sure that you're covering a lot of ground. Don't stand on one spot for half a day. Make 8-10 casts in some good water. Take a few steps and do the same thing over and over, and try to cover as much water as you can in a day. You'll be much more successful. Remember, this is a freestone river up here, and so fish can be relatively spread out, very different than tailwaters, where tailwaters you could stand on a hole for half a day and catch fish after fish. They'll pile into the same water. Whereas on the Arkansas River freestone, fish can be much more spread out. So that's just a good guide tip for you moving on. We do expect conditions probably for the next several weeks to be in that 200 to 350 CFS range. We're hoping that we see a little bit of mid-level snow melt to help supplement the flows. Really, today flows are 200 CFS at the Wallsville gauge. That's much lower than average because there's simply not much mid-level or low-level snow to melt to help supplement the native flow, and none of the entities are currently releasing water downstream, so we're basically at a native flow rate right now on the Arkansas River freestone, which makes it great to wade, exceptional to wade. Really that 200 to 400 CFS mark is optimal wading territory. But really difficult to float fish right now. If you're trying to bring a boat here to float, I sure do hope it's a smaller boat. That 10 to 11 foot range is going to be what you want here at sub 300 CFS. It's just bony, technical, but phenomenal wading conditions. We want that for rainbow trout spawning and brown trout fry emergence, so it's really optimal right now for that. But we would like to see a little bit more water and maybe a little bit of tint in the water column to make things a little bit easier on you as the angler. You don't have to get quite as good a drift, fish quite as small of tippet diameters as well. We should see a little bit more water over the coming weeks, and maybe, hopefully, probably about mid-May, we'll be in that 400 to 500 CFS range. It'll be interesting to see when runoff actually starts on the river here. I think we're about a week behind schedule as far as that's concerned. We may see some really great fishable conditions into that June 1 time period. It all really depends on what type of air temperatures we see over the course of the next 3 to 4 weeks, as to when true snowmelt heavy runoff occurs. But what I can tell you is when that happens, it's going to be relatively short-lived this year. We really were right around the mid-80s percent of average, so about 4 or 85% of average snowpack as of today on the Arkansas River Basin. And like I said, there's just really no mid-level or low-level snow to be had. And so probably by the time we see snowmelt come down, there's really just not going to be a whole lot to really pad that runoff. We'll probably see flows in the somewhere to 1,200 to 1,600, maybe 1,800 CFS range as a peak for runoff, and then it'll come screaming back down at sub 1,000 probably maybe by the 3rd or 4th week of June, maybe earlier. So we'll keep you tuned in on that. For now, we've got a great month of fishing ahead of us, a solid month of great spring fishing ahead of us. So we'll keep you tuned in on conditions and all of that jazz, but as for right now, it's exceptional. Come out to the Arkansas River to enjoy it. Come to the Arkansas River tailwater. If you have any questions on that section of the Arkansas, please feel free to call us or email us at any time. As for any of our guided water that we focus on, whether it be the Arkansas Freestone, the South Platte, the Arkansas tailwater, or the Gunnison River, if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out. We also have a great chat line on our website. Take advantage of that. That is running through business hours when we're here. The fly shop is open from 8 a.m. through 5 p.m. Monday through Saturday, and 8 a.m. through noon on Sunday. We would love to see you stop by. Happy to help with anything we can to make you more successful for your time on the water, and hope to see you soon. Thanks so much for viewing. Have a great time out there and be safe out on the water.